My wife wanted to go on a work trip to another city, it was union related, and she would be funded by the union and would go with two coworkers, man and woman. So in the past she would want to go with me on my work trips, and so I figured I would go with her. And she resisted, even to the point where she threatened to just go without me. The more she resisted, the more I insisted, and I said if she went without me, I'd follow her there with our two kids, 4 and 14. So we all went, in one car. I was suspicious at this point. And sensitive too. We got to the hotel, got our own room, and the man and women coworkers went to their room. Later my wife wanted to sleep in their room, so the woman was not so alone and uncomfortable to be with a man. We went back and forth on this, with me basically saying hell no, and even offering for the woman to stay with us. But my wife thought it was inappropriate for a single woman to sleep in our room with a married man, I shit you not. Sometime later her brother came to visit and she booked us a room in a nearby resort, told me she had to go home and get a toothbrush, and left with her brother our home, and I stayed with our kids and his kids. The next day when we got home, they had left out the wine glasses, there were 3. Realizing that my wife spent so much money on a resort nearby so she could introduce her brother to a man I could not meet, really says a lot about how important he was to her. That trip ended with an erosion in our trust, she stayed in our room. And not long later we had a birthday for our daughter, she was turning 5. We went all out for it, bought new furniture, got a clo, and invited everyone from my wife's work. My wife broached about bringing the man, and I resisted, but she claimed it would be too awkward and insisted she never cheated. So he came despite my wises, and it went well, without any issues between us. I was respectful and focused on my daughter's b-day, and my brother and mother came too. Most of the guests were my wife's friends from work, and their families. I was in the dining room at a table with them for a bit, walked to the game room for less than 5 minutes, came out, and everyone at the dining room table, including my wife and the man, were gone. Come to find out they left in a group in several cars to get a book. Some woman at the party wanted another woman to lend a book, so it took like 6 to 8 of them to go. I don't know what the hell didn't happen or happened, but I will say this, the issues continued, and I will never forget that my wife left our daughter's 5th birthday party with that guy. I seriously suspect they were cheating and there was more. Short version is I truly tried my best to refocus on her, I tried to keep it about us, but every so often he would just pop back in. Some years later, about the time my youngest was 9, I had lost the weight she complained about, and made some changes she had asked for. I was looking great, and we were doing well, when suddenly she was angry and starting arguments, that seemed to be around no good reason before she was supposed to go to her sister's wedding in Japan. So she went without me, I took the kids on vacation to see my family, and had a great time. Come to find out she almost missed her sister's wedding because she had to fly to the main capital to get a flight to an island, and it turns out that same man was there on vacation to that same island on that same day. After that trip we were on poor terms, and I had just gotten back from being with my family, that day. We were fighting, but she asked me to meet her at a restaurant that I took her to on her birthday. I went and it was a pleasant time, but we had not spoken yet about our issues. I was planning to do this, but when we left the restaurant she had some friends meeting us, friends I had met who were women, and they brought a guy. So her plan was to go dancing with the girls and this guy, and asked me to wait for her on the bench between the restaurant and the club for 2 hours with our daughter at 10 p.m. at night, age 10. I refused, and put my foot down, and we went home on poor terms. I did accept the marriage was over. After that, when her parents came to visit, I came to learn that this second man did meet all of her relatives, and while at a hotel together with her family, she went home to get a toothbrush and her sister went with her, only I held onto the cell phone. So in the morning she messaged this second man, that she was sorry she didn't see him but she left her phone at the hotel. By this point, I had no fight left in me, it was just a painful reminder of how much less I meant to her and how important these other men were to her. Eventually she left us, the kids and me, and went to another state, but at that point I had already accepted the end. I realized she didn't love me, and I was just focused on the kids and planning our divorce in the future. But when she left in a way that I was worried about her, it seemed out of her character, and despite all my snooping I could find no ties to any guy. I thought she was going through a midlife crisis. So I went with her to this new state, Colorado, for a new job because she let herself get fired from her last job for a very dumb reason, not getting a flu shot she got every year. I really blamed myself and still do for not moving on, for not making better choices for myself, for being stupid and being without the ability to really stop this. While it didn't create any kind of breakdown, I did hurt, and I ended up failing out of college my last year when I found out the guy who went with her from work was going to be my final proctor for graduating. Up to that point I had no idea he was a professor at my college part-time, but my wife told me to prevent me from being shocked, but told me before I took my last test. The loss of potential income from not graduating has been significant, and I did my best to retest and try, but it was like I could not remember anything I was learning at that point. Not long later I realized that it was really all her, and I can't fix anything about what she chooses or her poor decisions. I still respect her for what she does as a provider, and appreciate her as a mother, but other relationship, the love, the intimacy is long dead, and at best we are like peers. Here is a second story. My 48 meters marriage is now officially over. We were really happy for 10 years, but something snapped in her 49F and she became cold and distant for about the last 10 years. I went through all of the emotions and scenarios. I blamed myself, I blamed her hormones, and I had the gut feeling she was cheating. Well, about 2 weeks ago we had a talk and she said that she felt bad for the way she was treating me, but that she just doesn't have romantic feelings for me anymore. She considers me a good friend. I decided to move out and try the solo life and have all the arrangements in place to get settled within the next 2 weeks. But, last night we had another talk and my paranoia crept back in about her cheating and I just couldn't shake the feeling. So this morning I pulled the asshole move of snooping and have now confirmed the cheating. She was adamant last night and for a while now that she just wants to be alone and has no feelings for anyone, including her once close family. I told her that I suspected her of cheating and I thought I knew who it was, but she went as far as to say that the guy was secretly gay and she was just a friend. My wife of 20 years of marriage, who I've had a mystical feeling connection to since 7th grade, is just a lying cheater and it messes me up. I'm now super angry and will be grabbing some essentials from home this evening and sleeping on a family member's couch until my new place is ready. I'm a really easygoing guy and it scares me that I'm so angry. I've told her that I'm leaving today and to not be home when I get there to pack. I would never harm her, but I would definitely say some mean shit to her face to face. So, I guess I'm destined to have trust issues for the rest of my life. I backed every crazy thing she wanted to do without question and supported her in every way and have been rewarded with a sloppy hand job video of her and her boss. Relationships suck.